Good morning, everyone. On behalf of my co-chair today, Senator Moriwaki, we'll call our hearing to order. This is a joint hearing with the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection and the Committee on Government Operations. There are two bills on our agenda, one with CPN as lead and one with GVO as lead. So we will do our hearing and then hopefully our other members will join us and we will be able to do decision-making on these two bills. Welcome to conference room 229, Senator Moriwaki. Thanks for coming over to join us. In the hearing room, we have Senator Riviere, Senator Nishihara, and on Zoom, I see Senator Dela Cruz, Senator San Buenaventura, Senator Favela. Did I miss anybody that's on the Zoom? If not, thank you all for joining us this morning. We'll start out with the first item on our agenda. They're not really in alphabetical order. It just ended up that way. We started with the lowest number and went to the higher number. So our first bill is Senate Bill 2185 relating to fireworks. This imposes a consumer fireworks tax at the wholesale and retail levels, requires the auditor to take a look at the pyrotechnic records of all counties, fire departments, and provide us with an annual report detailing the inventory, record keeping, and sales of fireworks to licensees or permit holders to give that report to the legislature. So our first testifier on Zoom is Tammy Kaneshiro, Deputy Attorney General. Tammy, are you there? You need to unmute yourself. You are muted. Try again. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Chairs Baker, Moriwaki, and members of the committees. The Department of the Attorney General, I'm Tammy Kaneshiro, Deputy Attorney General. We do have a concern with regard to this bill that a provision that a portion of the taxes imposed by this bill may be expended without appropriation by the legislature may violate Article 7, Section 5 of the Hawai'i State Constitution. However, a possible solution would be to establish a special fund into which a certain percentage of the consumer fireworks tax revenues as specified by the legislature would be deposited with appropriation to the Department of the Attorney General and the Department of Taxation to expend monies out of the special fund for the implementation and enforcement of the consumer fireworks tax. I'm available for questions if the committees have any questions.
Okay, we'll take questions at the end, so please stay with us. Our next testifier is the Department of Taxation. Mr. Choi.
Good morning, Chair Baker and Chair Moriwaki. This is Teresa Zetwick on behalf of the Department of Taxation. We stand on our submitted testimony offering comments and are available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Hawaii State Fire Council, Gary Lum.
Good morning, Chair Baker and Chair Moriwaki. Gary Lum testifying on behalf of the State Fire Council. We stand on our written testimony and are available for questions.
Okay, thank you. We have the Department of Fire and Public Safety, Mr. Brad Ventura. Brad, are you there? I do not see him. Members, we have their written testimony. Honolulu Fire Department, Fire Chief Sheldon Pa'o. Chief, are you there? Don't see him. We have their testimony. We have Myung Oh representing American Promotional Events in opposition. Myung, are you there?
I am here. Good morning, Chair Baker, Chair Moriwaki, members of the committees. We stand in opposition to Section 1 of the measure, which proposes to impose a tax equal to the value of the consumer fireworks being sold. As we know, there is a black market here in Hawaii, and the passage of this measure places an increased tax that will drive consumers deeper into it. As you know, given our Hawaii state, people will just ask their friends if they know somebody who's selling fireworks. Consumers who purchase fireworks and lawful fireworks, for that matter, may no longer want to pay retail given the tax proposed in Section 1. So we asked that the committees strike that out prior to moving it forward. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Myung. We also have Mr. Tom Yamashita from the Tax Foundation of Hawaii. I saw Tom earlier. I think I see him there. Would you care to offer your testimony?
Yes, thank you, Chair Baker, Chair Moriwaki, members of the committees, Tom Yamashita from the Tax Foundation. We've submitted written testimony relating to the new tax and the new special account. We also wanted to point out that the tax is the same rate for wholesale and retail, meaning that if you have a distributor who sells fireworks to a retail store, which then resells it to a consumer, you're going to have at least 20% baked onto the price if that's what you want. That's the way it is. If it's not what you want, you may want to consider amendments on that regard as well. We'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you, Tom. We have testimony in opposition from Lauren Zerbel on behalf of the Hawaii Food Industry Association.
Good
Morning, Lauren.
Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. I'm Alexis Chapman for HFIA. We're in opposition to this added tax. We think that taxing wholesalers and retailers who legally sell fireworks is unlikely to address either the problem of illegal fireworks displays or the issue of black market fireworks sales. And I will be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Gerald Silva, individual in opposition. He says people are tired of taxes. They're just getting ripped off. Nobody likes to pay taxes. We also have testimony from Lynn Matasau. Members, that's all the testimony we have on this measure. Are there any questions for any of our testifiers? Chair, you have any questions? Senator Riviere.
Attorney General, please. Attorney General's office still there?
Tammy Kaneshiro, are you still on? We have a question for you. There she is.
Oh, thanks, Tammy. Hi.
Thank you.
Hi, this tax, I suspect the background of this is to try to get control over the aerial fireworks that have become so prevalent. How do you see, I don't see how this is going to rein in the black market or illegal activities, and maybe I'm missing something, but do you see some way that this will help prosecution or reining in of the illegals?
Well, it looks like this bill is addressing the consumer fireworks tax. So for those who, against the retailers and wholesalers, and I guess to the extent that illegal fireworks, they're not, paying taxes.
Right, they're not paying it anyway.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
Okay, thank you. I just was clear. If I was missing something, I wanted to know. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, I do have a question building on Senator Rivera's question with the State Fire Council or any representatives from the council that that looked at the illegal fireworks problem. I think we had a couple. Whoever can speak on behalf of the council.
Yes, this is Gary Lam.
Hi, Gary. Good morning. Could you address the question that Senator Rivera had of how we might be reining in the illegal fireworks? Your task force was to look at illegal fireworks, and is this the only solution that you came up with is to tax the wholesalers and retailers?
I note that this legislative session, there are multiple bills trying to address the fireworks problem in Hawaii. This is just one prong of that strategy, and it does not specifically address illegal aerial fireworks, but it does, like was discussed, tax consumer use, and As a fire service organization, State Fire Council does support increasing the cost of consumers in the hope that it will decrease the use of consumer fireworks. That's something we've always supported.
So it is broader than just illegal fireworks. It's reducing the use of fireworks.
Correct. That's from our perspective. Correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions? If not, members, I'll turn it over to my partner here for the next
you.
bill.
Thank you, Chair. This is on SB 3016 relating to the Hawaii Public Wireless Safety Act. It establishes the Hawaii Public Wireless Safety Act, creates a safety special fund to be administered by the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs, and creates a monthly wireless safety surcharge on wireless customers. First up is the DCCA Director Awakuni.
Aloha, Chair Baker,
Aloha.
Chair Moriwaki, members of the committees. I'm Kat Awakuni Colon on behalf of DCCA. The department will stand on its written comments expressing several concerns. We believe that the bill's purpose is not well defined. We are concerned about the lack of enforcement authority included in the measure. We're also concerned about the fact that the federal law specifically articulates that states are precluded from regulating on the basis of environmental effects of radio frequency emissions. And so those are just a few of the concerns that we've outlined. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Matt Matsunaga from Schlack Ito.
Hi, good morning,
Morning.
Chair Moriwaki and Chair Baker, and thank you for allowing me to testify. You have my written testimony, and I just wanted to add a few comments. This is a issue where we have a problem. The insurance rating industry, AM Best, recognized that approximately 250,000 workers each year are exposed to RF emissions. And so this is a problem that requires a solution. I'm not so sure what the exact solution is, but this bill is an attempt to start the discussion going about how we should address this solution for public health and worker safety. And the proponents of this measure are not wedded to any particular department or agency as to who is best suited to address this issue. I did want to address the preemption concern. Gathering data to determine whether or not the FCC regulations are being complied with is by no means meant to preempt or to interfere with federal regulations. This is simply an attempt to see whether or not they're being complied with. So I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you. Tax Foundation of Hawaii, Tom Yamashita.
Thank you, Chair, members. Tom Yamashita from Tax Foundation. We've submitted written testimony raising similar concerns as the last measure, both the new tax and the new special account. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I've written testimony from Budget and Finance Director Craig Hirai. First, are there any other testifiers that are on Zoom wishing to testify? Okay, I have written comments from the Budget and Finance Department, Safe Dynamics, Inc. In support, Beneventure Partners in support, Verizon in opposition, CTIA in opposition, TechNet in opposition, and from two individuals, one in support and one with comments. Members, any questions? Co-chair, any questions from your committee? Oh, Senator Riviere.
The first testifier, I think he spoke in favor of suggesting thank you. Regarding the science of the radio transmission and potential hazards. That's a pretty big issue. It's a big national, international question. Do you think that the state is in a reasonable position to resolve some of these questions that have not really been resolved at higher levels?
Is that to DCCA?
That's
or to-
the gentleman who
Oh,
spoke
Mr.
in support of
Matsunaga from
moving the bill. Yeah.
Schlakido. You're on mute.
Actually,
Yeah, okay.
thank you, Senator. May I ask my client to join me? My client is from Safe Dynamics, and he will be representing DJ Hill, the chairman and CEO. Hang on one second. He's right next to me. Hey, Drew. Here, testify. Why don't you go ahead and sit? Okay. Respond to the question raised by Senator Rivera.
Aloha. I'm sorry, I was trying to log in, but it was challenging. But aloha, everybody. I'm Drew Fountain. I'm business development for Safe Dynamics, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
The question was whether this issue of the health and safety precautions we're talking about with wireless radio frequency equipment, whether this is really a federal bigger problem for this rather than the state to be solving this issue.
It's really a social problem. The federal government has tried to solve it. They did a notice of proposed rulemaking change. They had 11,000 pages of testimony from all quarters, including the carriers who asked for a safe harbor and said they needed help. IEEE, which is our international standards body for the RF standards that we currently have in the United States, developed a C95.7 was to create a site-specific safety plan. So when workers go to a site, they can, or anybody goes near the antennas, they can see where they should or shouldn't go. I just got off the phone with Hayash, and I don't know what Alan's title is, but he's their director of construction and training. Talked to him about this, actually showed him how a protocol works. And I said, what do you think about this? And his comment was, being able to provide site-specific safety information for workers when they go near antennas is absolutely invaluable. So yes, it's true, the federal government was instrumental in setting the standards and did so in the 1980s when the sites were fenced off, isolated on towers, accessed by RF-trained technicians, and not like today, where in our world today, the roofer, the painter, you name the tradesman can get near these antennas. So it's really a social issue. It's a health issue. I think the UN had, 1948 came up with a health directive on that, but it's really our opportunity and our challenge as citizens to solve it. The FCC has, again, these long-standing rules and regulations on RF safety, and it's not that anybody's not doing the right thing. It's just that we've outgrown them, and a comprehensive solution should be evaluated to actually be able to solve this problem. And as Matt had recently mentioned, it's gotten so bad that the global insurers pulled out of the market. They will not insure this risk. They've said it's an unmitigated risk and we won't insure it. And these are companies that only make money insuring risks. So I hope that helps.
Well, I think we've heard from the Department of Consumer Commerce and Consumer Affairs that it is not in their purview to be doing the extensive work that is in this bill. So I'd like to call on DCCA again to address the public health concern that's raised here, and whether and who should be looking into this. Director Cologne Awakuni Cologne.
Thank you, Senator. Yes, I think we are, certainly sympathetic to the idea that, this is likely a growing area of concern. However, as we pointed out in our written testimony, a lot of our concern stems from, whether this should be properly housed within DCCA, where our mission and focus is on consumer protection. And what I'm hearing articulated by Safe Dynamics and Mr. Matsunaga sound to me more like health and safety issues, which we're not, equipped to address. I also, wanted to get back to the issue of, sort of the federal issue, federal law issue. I think, again, the department's lack of ability to enforce, any of these, either, even just the data gathering, I think would also pose a problem for the department. So we would, by statute, compel the wireless carriers to provide the data, but DCCA could not enforce or take any action if that data was not provided. And so we have a lot of concerns with the way that the bill is drafted at present.
So, Director, do you know if there's any agency that has the information from the FCC that is brought forth in some of the testimony in terms of what the standards are and who should be enforcing the standards?
Not to my knowledge. I don't know, whether this information is housed anywhere, at the state level. Again, it's been an FCC issue.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Director. Any others with questions?
Any other questions? Yeah.
No? Okay, so I think we could go into recess.
Okay, let's take a recess.
Decision
And can you open us up a breakout room so we can include in the discussions Senator Decoit, Favela, and Chang that I see on the monitors, and anybody else that happens to be there. Senator Dela Cruz as well. Okay, we'll call the committees on Commerce and Consumer Protection and Government Operations to order for purposes of decision-making. The first item on our joint agenda is Senate Bill 2185. This is relating to fireworks. Chair recommends that we pass this with technical non-substantive amendments recommended by SMA. Double the permit fee. Deposit the proceeds into the Department of Health Emergency Services Special Funds so that the funds can help support functions on all islands when there are incidents of people being harmed as a result of fireworks. Add in findings and purpose about consumer incidents of harm as a result of non-commercial fireworks accidents. Take DOE taxes amendments, make it effective 1/1/2023. Chair, were there some other amendments you wanted added into
No, I
that?
think that the committee report should reflect the concerns.
Yes, the committee report will reflect the concerns that were raised with illegals, and this goes over to our friends at Ways and Means. And if they are able to come up with an additional scheme that will help address and attack the illegals, enforcement, we will certainly provide prior concurrence. Any other questions or comments?
Very good.
If you're good with that recommendation?
Mhm.
Okay, for the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection, recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Senator Chang,
Aye.
Senator Decoit,
Reservations?
Nishiargos, reservations. Senator Revere,
Reservations.
Senator San Buenaventura. Senator Favela.
Reservations.
Motion's adopted.
Thank you, members.
Members of the GVO committee, same recommendation, SB 2185. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair Dela Cruz.
Aye.
Senator Chang,
Aye.
Senator Gabbard,
Aye.
Senator Favela. Senator Favela,
Reservations.
thank you. Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, members. Over to you, Chair Moriwaki, for the
Okay.
next bill.
This is on Senate Bill 3016 on the wireless fireworks, sorry. Wireless Act.
Wireless fireworks.
Wireless fireworks. On the Wireless Safety Act, because of the concerns raised on the preemption by the DCCA, the chair is recommending deferral at this time.
Okay,
Okay,
members, I
okay.
think that brings us to the end of our agenda. And thank you all for your participation and support. We are adjourned.